Perineural cysts, also called Tarlov cysts, can form along your spine, and this can be a cause for a cerebrospinal fluid leak. Okay, so let me try and explain this real quick in the best way that I can. So you have your spine, and then your spine is protected by this membrane called your dura. Your dura is made out of connective tissue. So think of it kind of like a hose. That hose, your dura, protects your spine, and it also encases cerebral spinal fluid. Some patients will form these cysts, these Tarlov cysts or perineural cysts along their dura. Okay, so don't come after me for this. I never claim to be any sort of artist. But let's say this is your spine, right? And then this outer casing is the dura. And where you see these little bump outs, let's pretend that those are the cysts. These cysts are compromised areas on your dura because the membrane there is thinner. Think about it like when you blow a bubble. You know when you blow a bubble and it becomes thinner and thinner and then it finally pops? Those cysts alongside your dura are thinner. As they're thinner, they're more likely to get these little tears or rips, which can cause a cerebrospinal fluid leak. One way that I know of that you can detect these cysts is a full MRI of your spine with and without contrast. Other causes for a cerebrospinal fluid leak would be degenerative disc disease, a calcified bone spur, because it can poke into that dura and cause a leak, spine surgery, or if a patient got into a car accident and maybe experienced whiplash. And chiropractors are not going to love me for this, but adjustments made by a chiropractor, you know that. Those adjustments can cause a CSF leak. Two more causes for CSF leaks that I think are worth mentioning are CrossFit. I often hear that patients got their CSF leak when they were lifting heavy weights at CrossFit or the gym. My thought is this is because of the increased intracranial pressure that is built up during the lift. And the last thing I want to mention is Lyme disease. Lyme disease attacks connective tissue. And remember, I shared with you that your dura, which protects the spine and holds in the cerebrospinal fluid, is made out of connective tissue. So when the Lyme bacteria attacks that connective tissue, it can make it weaker and make your dura more prone to a cerebrospinal fluid leak. So I was the perfect candidate for cerebrospinal fluid leaks because I had epidurals. I have a connective tissue disorder called hypomobility Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have over 16 perineural or Tarlov cysts, and I tested positive and was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease. What questions do you have? Perineural cysts, also called Tarlov cysts, can form along your spine, and this can be a cause for a cerebrospinal fluid leak. Okay, so let me try and explain this real quick in the best way that I can. So you have your spine, and then your spine is protected by this membrane called your dura. Your dura is made out of connective tissue. So think of it kind of like a hose.